Students, if you could check in with your advisor just to say hey, and then you're allowed to sit whether you want with your advisory or with your team. Faculty members, if you could make sure once we get ready to start that you're seated, that would be awesome. Where's Josh? Good morning, everyone. It's the bright lights here. This is great. All right, we want to get started. I know we're on a little bit of a tight time frame, and we really appreciate everybody getting through the rain and snow. I think it's most appropriate at Kent Hill School that it was snowing this morning on the day that we close out fall sports. In past years, it actually snows during the athletic season for our fall teams. So I thought that was pretty appropriate. As we get started, we're going to close out our fall season by awarding our athletic teams their end of the season honors. We want to recognize a lot of people who make this happen. It is not the easiest thing, and I will gladly admit it felt like my first rodeo. After 19 months of no competitive sports, no visiting teams, no locker room concerns in the fall, it was really strange, and it took a while to get back into the swing. So I'd like to thank all of you for your patience with me and with us as we navigated some really weird things. It was a whole different new than last year was new with COVID. So thanks to all of you. I also want to give a big shout out to the crew in the athletic department, Mr. Reynolds, Mr. Corey, Mr. Heron. Those three guys every week, every day, came in and got after it to make sure we were as prepared as possible and things ran as smoothly as possible. And as some of you who've been around for a while know, I tend to screw things up for them, so they fix them. And I appreciate their patience with me, and it was really great to have a team this year that clicked and made things really wonderful for all of our students. I want to thank facilities and Patrick Kane. Our fields were in great shape. Our grass has looked better than ever. we got creative and we brought soccer down onto the Brook Boulay field, and that was really awesome. It was really special to have the mountain bike team down in the Alfond with a locker room and just see the whole community together on this side of campus. It was really wonderful, and I thank them. And I want to thank Sherry and the Sage crew. Again, it was like a new rodeo for them with meals happening again and teams traveling, and that oftentimes can be really confusing because things change and needs change, and they were super flexible and super wonderful for all of us. So I just want to thank all of those folks. I know our coaches will want to, and I know we're on a time limit, but I want to recap the year very quickly. This year we did something a little bit different. The front row of table there is filled with the hardware from just the fall. So I'd like to think this is Kent Hill's hardware store. That's pretty awesome. We won 5 conference championships. We had a top 4 finish in New England, and we had a state champion among us in just one athletic season. So you guys should give yourselves a big hand for that. It's been really fun over the past couple weeks to reflect on that. I think each of you, every one of you, has made a very clear statement to not just the MASAD, to our competitors in the state of Maine for some of our teams, but to New England, that Kent Hill's back. The Huskies are back. COVID didn't faze us, and we're getting it done. So congratulations to all of you and to all of our coaches for your hard work. I want to get us started. Our first team that will present will be boys JV soccer. So if Coach Hodgen could come on up. I'm going to ask our students, if you are an award winner and you come up, please come up using these stairs and stand between the table and the podium so that your parents who are watching on live stream and our paparazzi out here taking pictures can get really great shots of you. So come on up, Pete. Let's get started.
Good morning. So I want to echo Coach Hambrose's thanks to obviously the entire athletic department and to Sage and to Plant Facilities and everybody who helped to make the season run as smoothly as it did. And I want to add all of the teachers, members of the faculty, the families, and students who came out to support the team by coming to some games and cheering us on. And to the guys, the team on the Howl who also made the games available to people who couldn't come and see them in person and yet sort of brought them to that whole community and brought them to the public that way. It was a really cool element of the season. I have a tendency, a reputation for rambling on, so I actually wrote down 3 things that I want to make sure that I say, and 3 things that I want to make sure that I make a point of. With that said, and anybody who has spoken with Coach Mo and I since our season concluded knows that we will talk with anyone who wants to talk about our season for hours. So if anyone is interested to hear long stories about how proud we are of the team and our experience with the season, absolutely come find us, chat us up. We can talk all day about it. But I will try to keep it to 3 things that I think are important. Number 1, it's that collectively, from the 9th grade players to the seniors, this was the strongest, fastest, most athletic, most competitive team that I've had a chance to coach in my 20 years at Kent Hill. And what was really cool is we kind of had a sense for that at the beginning of the season going into it. In preseason and in the first week, we knew that we were dealing with athletically a really special crew of guys, and it was a really great way to start the season. So that's what we knew about the team. What we learned about the team, and this is number 2, is that they were also really high character guys. They were incredibly hardworking. They cared about one another and embraced the idea of the team as a collection of friends. And the camaraderie that they generated as a team was amazing. The humor that they brought to it, the pride that they brought to it. Coach Mo and I, we did what we could to set a tone, but really the true leadership and the vision of the team was coming from the team itself. And it came from our captains. Noah and Gavin were outstanding. Again, high character, high skill, but high character guys. We had incredible and steady sportsmanship from players like Trevor Chute and Jacob Benke, and guys that just were always conspicuously doing the right thing. We had high energy from just the forces of nature we had on the team, like our Greco-Canadian Spartans, Theo and George. And we had unending heart and positivity from guys like Z-Wood and Ernie, who just came out every day and made coaching enjoyable, made the team experience enjoyable. So that's number 2. Number 3, so if I've tried to highlight what we knew going into it, what we learned once the season got going, what we were able to accomplish was that we had regular season victories over Hyde and Gould and a really quality win over Berwick, and we couldn't seem to turn the corner on a team that's always been strong at our level, which was Hebron. I had never coached a JV boys team that had beaten Hebron in a championship until this year. We had gotten beaten by Hebron twice, once at home pretty handily, and so on the road, it was going to be a really interesting experience to see what we could do with them. And our guys played absolutely their best game of the season. We rode David's first half goal to a 1-0 victory in the championship. And again, Coach Mo and I, we did our usual sort of classic coaching wisdom from the sidelines of yelling stuff like, hey, mark up and get back to help, and right idea, good effort. And so we did that. That was our contribution. The real, thoughtful, effective communication was what was going on the field between the players and on the bench between the players when they weren't in. They were the ones holding each other accountable, taking responsibility for their own effort. They were reminding each other of what they'd worked for. They were the ones reminding each other to play the right way, and they were the ones that essentially guided the team to that win. We may have helped, but everything that was truly important was happening within the team itself and within the team's leadership and within the team's energy. So with that, I want to hand things over to Coach Mo, who's going to present the most improved player.
All right. Most improved players. This was voted on by our players. We had nothing to do with this. And I only say that because it was almost unanimous and really just overwhelming votes. And this kid had 16 unbelievable saves in the championship game. So MIP goes to Jonathan Platten. Come on up here.
Thanks, Jonathan. The other award that the JV boys have to present is the Coaches Award. With a team of our size and with the quality of guys that we had, this was a challenging decision because there were a lot of guys that were absolutely deserving of this kind of recognition. The recipient this year was not one of our captains, despite the fact that they brought incredible leadership. The recipient was not the person who led our team in scoring or in assists. And he wasn't the most vocal leader by any measure. Nonetheless, he was arguably the most universally respected and admired player on the entire team. He was one of the first to practice every day. He played with skill, with determination, with character, and sportsmanship for every minute that he was on the field, and he played almost every minute of every close game that we had. He really defined and articulated our entire defensive identity for the whole season. He was our rock, and we're really going to miss him next year. The Coaches Award this year goes to Aiden Nolan. Thank you.
Coach Kreitz, you are up. I shared with Coach Kreitz yesterday, I said, you're going after Coach Hodge, so be a lot shorter than he is. Come on up, Coach.
Hi everyone, I'm Coach Kreitz with field hockey. The women's field hockey team had an extremely successful season right from the first game. The girls went undefeated in the league, which led them to winning the championship game against Hebron 10-2. That being said, it wasn't easy. The girls truly worked hard every practice and game. They would get on the field, have fun, and always play with heart. The coolest thing was watching all the girls improve so much as the season went on. And every game truly was a team effort with multiple girls scoring for the first time. Like Anna scoring first 4 goals in the championship game after not even believing she was good enough to be a starter, but you were. Before I get to the awards, I want to thank the girls for being my first field hockey team to coach. I'll never forget this amazing group and truly enjoyed being your coach. You're all such incredible people, and being on the field with all of you was one of the best parts of my day. So thank you for all of our Polaroid pictures, jamming out on away trips, and never giving up, even when our bus did. Thank you, boys soccer, for picking us up. I also want to thank Petrillo for being the best co-coach and teaching me the ins and outs of coaching. I appreciate you. And of course, I want to thank Athletics Department, Mr. Herron, for helping our girls out with all the injuries, and Mr. Corey, Nan, and Mr. Reynolds for all you do to make athletics run smoothly. So first, we're going to give our MIP award.
So for a team who improved in their togetherness throughout the season, we had so many of you who showed incredible improvement throughout the year. I know for us, and I think the team will certainly support this, when I say that one of the young ladies on the team went from what I would say is probably not sure which side of the field to be on at the beginning of the year, to, as Coach mentioned, scoring 4 goals in one of our final games when she found her place on that post and really understood what to do. So for the most improved player on our team, we would like to congratulate Anna.
So now our MVP award was someone who was always ready to work hard. Her passion for the sport is exactly what you want in your captain, because you know they'll lead in the most wholesome way, like she did. She cared for her team and would advocate their needs. On the field, she was always motivating her teammates, helping teach them new skills that she'd learn, and always asking questions on how she can improve her gameplay, knowing there's always room to get better. She was one of our top goal scorers and an all-around strong field hockey player, being able to switch around positions if we needed her to. We're lucky to have one more season with her next year. Chelsea. Congrats, Chelsea. Lastly, our coach's award goes to one of the most reliable players you could ask for. If you taught her a special play you wanted her to do on the field, you knew she would follow it exactly how you asked. You can always count on her to know what's going on and to always come out and do her best. Even with her injuries, she was always pushing herself and communicating if she needed to take a minute. Sage could always bring the energy up by leading by example and, of course, her fun, bubbly personality. Thank you for such a great season, Sage.
We also get to hand out 4 all-conference awards And as the winner in the MASADs, we are able to hand out more than any of the other teams in our conference. So our 4 all-conference or all MASAD award winners are Amita Nanda, Ava Nadeau, Chelsea, and Heidi Lofts. That's all, thank you.
And now to recognize our equestrian athletes, if Dylan could come forward, and I will serve as your assistant coach.
Okay, hello. Thank you. So I was the equestrian coach this year, which was pretty exciting because I had never been on a horse before. So I was the equestrian driver, and then Ruth Ballard was the actual coach. So we kind of talked and decided these awards. She, as well as myself, were super impressed by just the team as a general. You all were super united. You were always kind of helping each other out. You were always on time. We never had to worry about you. And it was just very impressive. We obviously didn't have any games, but we had a great season. So my speech is much shorter. So the most improved of this year was Cindy. The let's see, most valuable player, I think is the next one, right? Yeah. And really this could be any of you all, right? But most valuable player this year will go to Kate. Nice. And last, the coach's award goes to Mallory. Awesome. Thank you all, everybody, for a good year.
Prior to COVID, each athletic season we present a male and female sportsmanship award. Every athletic season, fall, winter, and spring. Last year we did not. This year we're bringing that back. So I'd like to ask Coach Jenkins to please come to the podium for our male sportsmanship award winner.
Good morning. This fall's Male Sportsmanship Award winner sets the bar high for our athletes at Kents Hill. What does he offer, you might ask? Well, I'll go through the checklist for you. He's on time, every practice, every day, check. Engaged in every workout, task, or competition, check. Motivated to improve, check. Competitive, but not so much that he loses sight of what's important, the big picture. Check. Does he represent Kents Hill with pride and positivity? Check. Respected by his peers and coaches? Yes, check. And there's a list that I could go on about. This athlete checks a lot of boxes. He was new to our cross-country team this year, but immediately stepped in and asserted himself as a model of both effort and consistency. He showed our team what it means to work hard day in and day out, regardless of circumstances, weather, competition, or other factors. When he fell on a slippery, muddy spot in one of the biggest races of the year, he picked himself up, smeared the mud on his face, and proceeded to PR and take second place in a heat of over 200 runners. Yeah. But it was one of the endearing moments of our season. When he heard that Coach Sage was a plank master, he dedicated himself to doing planks for ridiculous amounts of time. And so, Lucas, what are we at? Is it 22 minutes? 31? 31. Lucas, yeah, it's insane, right? Lucas Ryman Dubbers has showed our team what it means to compete with effort, pride, and consistency, and how to be a good teammate and support others as they strive to do the same. And that is why he is our Male Sportsmanship Award winner for the fall of 2021.
It was great. I know this will be hard to believe for all those of you who hang around the Owl Fund, but I'm actually nervous, so I missed a part that would have been really important for all of you to know. The Sportsmanship Awards, our varsity head coaches nominate athletes, and our athletic department votes on those awards, and it goes to a student who exemplifies our core value of sportsmanship both on and off the field, the course, the court, the ice, whatever their arena of competition. So I apologize for leaving that part out, but now you have a little more information. And I know the guys are looking at me like, Ambrose, you're never nervous. You're always barking at us. So I do get nervous once in a while. So Mr. Reynolds is going to take over from here with our mountain biking awards.
How are we doing on time, Coach? Good. Before I get going, I need to not forget this. So it's probably the most important part of everything I have to say, and that's a thank you to the man in the back, the tall guy, Coach Kane. Can't do this without him. He is amazing, a helper to me, to keep me focused in the right place, and sometimes dealing with 14 different athletes, some of whom have hardly ridden a bike before, and some of whom are very competitive, can be challenging, and it's like herding cats, and he's a wonderful cat herder, and he's always the man. Pat's always the sweeper and somehow knows where people are so we don't get lost as a group and we don't go home without somebody. All right, mountain bike racing, it's muddy, it's bloody at times. If riding a bike for 45 minutes to an hour as hard as you can over rocks, roots with 100 people who you don't know sounds crazy, it kind of is. But for all of us who do this, we think it's fun. This year was full of thrills and spills. We had 6 races, raced against teams from all over New England, hundreds and hundreds of different competitors, and we had a great time. Some brief stats. So we had at least one racer place in the top 10 at every race we attended, which is very impressive. And in one race, in fact, we had 2 individuals on top of the podium. And we had many, many top 10s and top 5. So if that's a metric that we use, which it's competitive, so we do, I think we could say we were very successful. And this was my first year coaching when we actually had to go compete other places, so I really appreciate the kids and their tolerance of me when we go to a different place or a new race, like racing on the mountain at Gould and an enduro race, which is crazy downhill racing. Like, Coach, what do we expect? What is this going to be like? Is this hard? Is this fun? I'm like, well, we're going to go ride this course right now, you and I, and we're going to find out what it looks like. And then 10 minutes from now, we're actually going to go race it. And so they're like, what? So I appreciate their patience as well. So moving on to the awards. This individual, so I'll start with the MVP. So this individual will be no surprise to our team. He's the big dog. He's the one that we all chase, and no one can ever quite keep up with. Hopefully, we got some other riders who will continue to push him, but the most valuable player is Finn Sheridan Crane. Most improved. Again, we always say this as coaches, it's really hard to choose because, especially on this team, every single one of these guys and girl improved immeasurably from the beginning to end. But one person sticks out in my mind as someone who came here really excited to do something really new and was always engaged and always had a good time and faced some challenges, I would say, throughout this. Personal challenges being, I don't know how hard I can race, and I don't know how I feel, but at the end of the day, when I sit there and I watch these kids ride from the beginning to the year to the end of the year, the one that I see who consistently improved in his skill set beyond what I think he thought was possible was Cyrus Merritt. Last and certainly not least, the Coaches Award. So this one is near and dear to my heart. This guy has been on the team 3 years. I wasn't his coach his first year, but I knew he had challenges. And I think Mr. Kane will back me up, but this person always shows up. He is always motivated. He loves the sport, just would ride on his own without having to compete. He's super consistent. And he's fascinating with what comes out of his mouth. He has usually something profound to say about every race. I don't know how he infuses this, but sometimes we're scratching our head, but we love him. And the Coaches Award goes to Aiden Beatty.
Girls varsity soccer, Coach Sisson, come on up. Coach Pickett.
Okay. Yeah, great to see everyone, especially being an off-campus coach. It's fun to have an opportunity to come back and see everyone again. I really enjoy being on campus, and it's because of the great job all these students on our team, our girls soccer team, and everywhere. And I also want to thank Coach Pickett and Ambrose and the rest of the staff and athletics for your support. I really couldn't do the job being an off-campus coach without you. So thank you so much for your support, and it's above and beyond, really. So girls soccer, season summary, the return from COVID, I think it's worth noting that these players worked really hard last fall with just the hope of competing this season. And the work they put in last year, I was amazed at how easily it translated to success in this season. And it was just putting together and fitting together the pieces for games that we needed to do. And it took us a little while, but we did it really well. And they did a great job measuring their successes in different ways than just the W, and finding the moments in the game that they did find success, moments in the season, both individually and as a team, and great job on that. I've never coached a team with such positive leadership, and that's a testament to your campus as well and your entire school. They were just, I looked forward to every session with this team, and it was just a lot of fun. One of the examples of that is later in the season, We noticed that before a game, yeah, we'd have our little huddle and we'd get out there and go. But then when the starting lineup took the field, each line, so soccer has 3 lines, on the field. Each line, the back line, the midfielders, and the attacking line, would all kind of get together and give each other a little hug and little words of encouragement. And that was just spontaneous. That wasn't something we coached up. And it just really showed their unity and their effort to lead each other, which was so powerful. I want to take a moment first. It's really important to recognize the seniors on this team, Naomi Ballin, Shay Cheney, Emma Gardner, Beatrice King, Emma Knowles, and Naima O'Rourke. If you could just stand real quick and get a round of applause. Great job, seniors. Come on, stand up. Yeah. Especially for those seniors, you got to realize before this year, they only had 1 competitive season on board, and so full season, and so that's important to note that COVID really disrupted the season for the seniors this year, their experience here, and this year was truly a success for them. Highlights of the game is that chair right there, beyond how we played, of course, but just in terms of the victories we had, that chair represents the over 100-plus-year-old rivalry between Hebron and ourselves. Before this year, this was a male-fueled rivalry for football only. I'm honored to be associated with the group of young women who now represent that chair and that rivalry for a female sport. So big round of applause for that as well. It's really exciting. And then we did make it to the conference final against Gould, and were it not for a 10-minute lapse in the first half, would have won that game. And I'm still kicking myself for that as a coach, but ultimately that's a victory as well. And the players, I think, came out of that feeling like they had met a lot of success in that game and that season. So conference runners-up is certainly not a bad way to finish. So most of all, I'm proud of the perseverance and confidence, in addition to the soccer development that these players showed. I don't like doing awards in general because each of you are your own most improved. You're most valuable in your own way on this team, and you certainly did, and I don't say that lightly, and the Coaches Award as well. But I will go through these because it is important to highlight the members of our team who contributed in such special ways. First, I guess, is the most improved. Is that right? All right, so we'll do that. This player, this was her first soccer season ever. So that means no youth soccer, no club soccer, no other high school season ever. And not only that, she started and played the whole game at the 6, which is a really challenging position. And the growth I've seen in her, both tactically and technically, is just tremendous. Naomi McGadney. And then the Coaches Award, how I like to define that is using one of the part of the 6 key qualities of player that U.S. Soccer defines. And that is, one of the components of that is creating your own training environment, creating the environment, you as a player, how do you create the environment that you want to train in that helps you get better? And this player really does that, both socially and with her own individual skills and as a team player. Clara Eve Landry. Okay, and then finally, most valuable player. Yeah, statistically, probably the most valuable, but also in the books. But most importantly, this player is the emotional core of our team, okay, of this team. And continually impressed with her leadership on and off the field, Naomi Ballin. Okay. So we also have the MASAD, all-conference team. And so for that, I'd like to bring up Emma Knowles, fantastic goalkeeper. Congratulations, Emma. And also up here, Naomi Ballin. Congratulations. And also Clara Eve Landry. Congratulations, Clara. Yeah. Big round of applause for the whole team. Thank you very much. Thank you. I also have the privilege, Nan, would you like to say a minute, or should I just go? You were good. Okay, so I have the privilege of staying up here and recognizing the Female Sportsmanship Award for your fall sports teams. And I'd like to just point out, in addition to what was already pointed out for the male award, is that this is more than just sportsmanship, in my view. So it's more than just being nice to the refs, working hard for your teammates, contributing those ways, and being the biggest cheerleader on your team. It's really a lot more than that. It's about the integrity of sports in general and your game that you've dedicated yourself to. And it's integrity through leadership, and that leadership can come in a lot of different ways. And this player that I have the privilege of working with and awarding this to today is one of the most powerful student leaders I've ever met. And also the most unique. So when Coach and I talked about this, we really have a difficult time describing her leadership. But I'll do my best here. She authentically leads by example. And by that I mean, you've seen kind of players or athletes or students that try to lead by example, and you can tell they're wearing it like a badge. This player just does it because that's who she is, and that's how she leads. Again, I mentioned creating your own training environment. This player creates the world that she wants to live in on her soccer team in this case. And that's really powerful as well. And also just perseveres mentally and physically, regardless of the situation, regardless of whether you're winning or losing, regardless of whether you feel well or not. And again, this player's emotional steady state is contagious. So what Coach and I noticed is this player, is always on the positive side of things, but never really gets really high emotionally or really low. And that's contagious among the players that she surrounds herself with. I'd like to give one quick anecdote that might be a little weird, but hopefully is self-deprecating and on my part as well. I try to be a very positive coach and lead by example myself, but as you know, none of us are perfect leaders. We're all imperfect leaders. And so later in the season, I thought it was a great time for me to break all the rules of my own coaching philosophy and point out in the middle of a game to this player, hey, that's really weak. That was a really weak tackle. You got to be better than that. Okay? Not a great moment in my coaching career. And this player, in the middle of the game, I wish I had had a slow-mo of it somehow. But this player kind of looked at me from the midfield with this weird side eye, and it said to me, number one, are you kidding me? Like, really? This is what I'm getting? This is what you're giving me? And number two, yeah, I don't need that. And number three, most importantly, this isn't how this team works. And that's in the middle of the game. Like, okay, maybe that's a weak tackle, but we don't behave that way. That's not how it works. And that will stick with me for the rest of my life. I loved seeing that, and that's how I took it. And maybe it was just my own interpretation. But I couldn't be prouder, and I know all of us in the athletic department feel this way, to present this Sportsmanship Award to Naomi Ballin. Yeah, I'll make sure to say hi to your parents over there. Say hi.
Coach McDonald with golf, our varsity golf team.
Could the golf team stand up just for a second? Everybody that's here. I had an amazing golf season with these young men and women, and I drove some good bus. We were a team that was strong across the board. 1 to 12, these kids could play golf, and it was awesome to watch a lot of the time. We played a lot of golf, and we practiced, had a lot of matches in a relatively quick season. We put in a lot of work, a lot of driving, and it really did pay off. We ended up culminating our season with the state championship at Atanis on the Arrowhead Golf Course, and taking the Maysad at our home course in Belgrade. During that time, we played a lot of matches against Maine public schools and in the Maysad private school league, and it was awesome. Every player on this team contributed in nearly every other match. The scoring lineup wasn't always set. People moved in and out of it. People played hard. People got to feel pressure. They got to feel success. I really enjoyed this season. The next part, though, is kind of the hard part of being a coach, is you've only got 3 to give out. I could give out 1 for something to everybody on the team. I could tell you how Alan opened the entire season up with a massive drive after just telling me, "Coach, I am so nervous, I don't know if I can swing my club." Stepped up with his driver and put it out about 270 to 280 in the air. It was awesome. We could tell stories like Gary's incredible comeback against Brewster. He was down and came over the top of the hill with just pure awesomeness and finished out the match and won it for us, not even knowing what he was doing, just playing hard to the end. And we could talk about Jack, who took 1 match in 5 holes and was shooting 3 under during that time. Just finished it right out real quick. Everybody has great stories during this golf season, and they are an awesome, awesome crew. But I do have to give out 3 different awards. My most improved golfer award was a tight race. Most of these awards seem to have about 4 people really pushing for them. This award went right to the MVC state qualifier. There was a couple kids that had just been playing better and better golf, and this was a bit of a heartbreaking award to give out because this young man played the entire second 9 of his match at par, having not really come close to that yet during the year, and he missed putting himself in states individually by 1 stroke, and it was an amazing match to watch and heartbreaking at the end. And my most improved golfer is Micho Patakis. The next award I'll give out is the Coach's Award. And again, we had great teammates. It's tough to come out to practice every day when you might not be getting to play in the top 6 in the next match. But kids came out and practiced all the time. This came down and started out 4 people that were really just showing up, playing, expressing great sportsmanship. And it came down to the person in that group that had just spent the most time in the scoring 6 and had treated her opponents with respect during every match. My Coach's Award goes to Lily Dwyer. And the last one, the MVP, this really started out as a four-person race too. And then it turned into a two-person race as kids got just dialed in throughout the season. And it still is probably a two-person race. But I went with the person that scored the highest and won the most matches the most consistently for the season. That's Jackson Melendi. Could Nico come up too? Come here. Stand right here for a second. All right. I read an article in the Portland Press Herald this morning. Nico was named one of 10 students in Maine named to the Varsity All-State team. We'll get you a certificate for that, bud. And also for the MASAD conference, we have 2 All-Stars in Jackson Melendi and Nico. Thank you, everybody.
Coming down the home stretch a little bit here, if Coach Jenkins could come up for the Varsity Boys and Girls Cross Country Awards.
We'll do the girls first. Thanks, everyone. I'd like to start off by thanking Coach Sage over there for all of her contributions to our team year after year. Mac, I really appreciate everything that you've done for our team. Also, huge thanks to Mr. Munson, who is our trail master. Spends so much time getting our trails ready and prepping us for competition. We would have nowhere to run in the woods without him, so thank you so much. Of course, Mr. Heron, Mr. Reynolds, and a big shout out to Mrs. Ambrose for organizing and running the New England Championship at UMaine Augusta. That was an amazing event, and I know how much time, effort, work, thought went into pulling that off. Also, a huge shout out to everybody that came and helped out at that event, both faculty, staff, and students. We could not have done it without you. Thank you so very much. Lastly, I want to thank our captains, Rose and Garrison, for all of your leadership. It was a great season, top to bottom. This year's cross-country team was, as we've talked about together, a real pleasure to work with. From those early days in fall, back when we were in shorts and t-shirts, from windy and rainy days in November, and our big meets like Manchester, New Hampshire, our Festival of Champions, and then our smaller contests with Hyde, Hebron, and Gould, all the way through the MASAD Championship and the New England Championship at UMaine Augusta. From our scavenger hunts to our speed workouts and tempo runs, our road runs, we did a lot, and you guys did a great job working together for a common goal. We had we had more than that. We had, 8 all MASAD runners and 3 all New England runners this year, combined, guys and girls. Really, really proud of all of your efforts. For the girls' side in particular, our girls' team won their 7th consecutive MASAD title, which is a staggering streak. And 2 of them were all MASAD, but all 5 of them, we only had 5, they all contributed, and we needed every single one of you in order to score those points and win that final race. And then on the boys' side, we did something that we had never done before, certainly in my time, and at least in the last 20 years. We won MASADs, and we were dominant in doing so. And then they proceeded to ratchet it up a notch in the New England Championship, biggest meet of the year, and take a top 4 place and earn some hardware, which was an amazing accomplishment. So congratulations to those guys. We had 6 all-MASAD boys, and we had 1 all-New England runner, and we'll get to those in a minute. Thank you all for a wonderful season. On to our awards. Girls, our most improved player is voted on by the team. Goes to a new runner. She was a bit unsure of joining the team early on. I think we had to talk her into it a little bit. But she embraced the sport really quickly and all of the challenges that running poses. We have never seen a runner smile more during grueling races than this young woman. I think everybody on the team probably knows who it is already. Her cheer and spirit brought a positive vibe to our team, and we so appreciated all that she did to bring everyone together. Her 5K time over the course of the season improved by over 6 minutes, and even toward the end, she got it through a couple of injuries in the last couple of races to finish well. Our most improved runner on the girls' side is Anna Rode. Our MVP on the girls' side goes to a runner who was new to our team, and I don't think she had ever run a 5K before this season, but quickly became a leader in our league with quiet determination and some fast times. She won multiple MASAD races through the course of the season and overall was 2nd in the MASAD final. She then went on to finish 7th in New England at the championship. She's a silent but fierce competitor, and she took every challenge head on and was a great teammate to boot. By the end of this season, she was regularly running in the low 21-minute range and stepping up each week. Our most valuable runner this year is Rosalie Klingler. Our Coaches Award on the girls' side, I mean, we had 5 girls, and they were all fantastic. But Coach and I talked it over, and we chose someone who we think exemplifies hard work and dedication to her sport. She's an excellent teammate and encourages and pushes everyone on the team to be better. She's willing to help whenever help is needed. And she jumps around. All the different people on the team is willing to associate with everybody and work with everybody. She's certainly a top competitor. She took 4th in the MASAD and was 8th in New England. But it's more her spirit and passion for competition and inclusivity that makes her our choice. For the Coaches Award, the award goes to Rose Jenkins. On to the boys. Our MIP, most improved. We had a lot of votes on this one. It was a tight race. Our Coaches Award goes to a young man who was new to the program. He had run before, but never cross-country 5K. We quickly realized that that didn't matter. He took to the team and the sport right away, cementing himself as someone who battles every race. A lasting impression of this young man, you've already heard it, smeared mud all over his face, took second in his heat, and he has an effortless, economical, and German-engineered running style. And his demeanor is always calm and positive. He's motivated, hardworking, and he's a great teammate. Our Coaches Award is Lucas Ryman. We had 8 runners who earned all MASAD honors this season from both the boys and the girls, and I believe we have certificates for them. They are, for the boys, in 10th, if you're top 10 for the boys at the MASAD Championship, and then if you were top 5 for the girls. So Adam Rothenstein was 10th, Jonah Jenkins was 7th, Barrett Lunder was 6th, Lucas was 3rd, Garrison Melendi was 2nd, and Olivier Lacroix was our champion for the boys. And then for the girls, Rose Jenkins was 4th, and Rosalie Klingler was 2nd. So if all of them, if you are out in the audience, come on up, get your certificate. And then finally, we have 3 all New England certificates for those that placed top 20 at the New England Championship. And those are, on the boys' side, that would be Olivier Lacroix in 18th place. Congratulations. And then for the girls, Rose Jenkins 8th, and Rosalie Klingler was 7th. So congratulations. Thank you all very much. Take a picture.
There's like a parade going through there. Thanks for bearing with the technical difficulties. Last but not least, we're going to have Coach Carlucci come up. Coach Schroeder could not be here today, and he did send his regrets for not being able to present the boys varsity soccer awards, but Coach Carlucci I think will be an awesome stand-in.
I don't know about that. Thanks. Thank you, Olive Sampson, for being here. So we started out with a very difficult season. We lost Matt, our captain, our leader, to an ankle injury, kind of a freak one, just standing on the ball. It happens. But at first, it looked like we had never kicked a soccer ball in our lives before. But every single day, we progressed. And talking to all of the other coaches, when Coach Carl and I would have our little press conference, talk to the coaches after the game, they said every single time, we are way better than our record. We are just allergic to scoring. It happens. We got there every time, but the 196 square feet of a goal eluded us every single time. It was a great season. All of the guys made it a great first year of coaching for me and Carl at the school. So, to start with the most improved player, he never started a soccer game. He's a hockey player at heart. He's always smiling, giving me grief the entire time. Great leader, outspoken when he needs to be. And he quickly learned how to use his hands, especially when I was warming him up before the game. So, Holden Hall, come on up. for the next award, Coach Carl and I want to give the Coaches Award to somebody who thought they were not a defender. He thought he was a forward, thought he could score goals, complained about playing center back every single day to us, but when it came to playing in game, he was a rock, really solid, went from right back to center back, and was actually always smiling. Thank you to our South African juggernaut, Sebastian Outwood. Now, for the most valuable player, he came in, showed his stuff, played center back the first game, then center defensive mid, then center attacking mid, and eventually forward. He got progressively more creative, more confident every single game, and he was our leader in assists, tied for our top goal scorer, Mr. Chase Daigle. Is it on to you? Awesome. Thank you.
A big congratulations to all of our award winners. If you just hold on 1 second, I'm going to make this short and sweet, but I'd like to end with a few words. There's a wonderful broadcaster on TNT. His name is Ernie Johnson, and many of you may have heard of him. And there's a viral video of Ernie Johnson talking about get to and got to. And it just stuck with me. It's been sticking with me for about 7 months since the first time I listened to it. And I think a lot of us, maybe the adults more so because we're a little older, more reflective, spent a lot of time prior to COVID looking at what we did every day as, oh, I got to. I think maybe even as athletes, we sort of got into that rut of, oh, I got to go to practice. I got to get on that bus and travel all the way down to Massachusetts. When COVID hit, I think we all started to reflect on, wow, I get to play soccer. I get to be with my friends. I get to be in the dorms again. And I would challenge all of us as we leave here today, when we have those moments where we think we got to really think about what we get to do. I get to do this, even though it makes me really nervous, but I get to be with you. I get to go with the JV boys soccer team to Berwick and have Panda Buffet on the way home. It was wonderful. But I challenge all of you as you leave one of our most successful fall athletic seasons and head into our winter season to remember that we get to. We get to skate on our own campus. We get to compete at one of the highest levels in New England. And we get to be together. Savor those moments, cherish those moments, and build on them. Best of luck to our winter teams and congratulations to all of our fall athletes.